Cheers, and welcome to Bube's Brewery. Right now it's pretty obvious that we're decorated for the Christmas season, but what's not so obvious is that we're also standing in the lobby of one of the most historic land sites in Mountjoy, Pennsylvania. Not only that, but we're standing in one of the oldest breweries in the United States. So come with me as we take a tour of one of the most incredible buildings from my hometown. Bube's was built in 1856, which makes it over 150 years old. Right now we're standing in the shaft room. While this wheel was added to the brewery, it represents a simple pulley system that the brewers used to use to bring the beer or soda that they originally brewed from 35 feet underground up here and then distribute them on horse-drawn carriages. The next part of the brewery that we're going to see is where they stored the beer, and we're also going to learn about how they cleaned the barrels. Now we're in the stocktub cellar. The stocktub cellar in the 19th century was where the beer was kept in between the fermenting and lagering phase of the brewery process. Now, these tubs stored the beer, and we're going to find out where the beer goes on later on. But one interesting thing is how they cleaned these ginormous containers after the beer had passed on to the lagering phase. So, over here you can see some original tools that were used for cleaning these huge stock tubs. Now, a funny thing about this story is that the smallest person that worked at the brewery at the time was the person that was always designated the cleaner. If you can pan over there, you can see just how small these holes were that these little cleaners had to get through. Now, even though the beer is out of the tubs when they're being cleaned, they still leave a lot of alcoholic fumes. So the cleaners would only be able to clean for about 4 hours at a time before they get too drunk from the fumes and they would be sent home. I always said that if I worked in a microbrewery in the 19th century, that's the job that I would want. Now we're going to move on to a unique feature of Bube's Brewery, the local art gallery. Now we find ourselves in another very special place of Bube's Brewery, our local art gallery. Owners Sam and Jan Allen are huge supporters of local artists, so they sell their paintings here free of commission. The art changes about once every month, but right now we're going to give you a view of some of the local paintings that we have to offer right now. While not for sale, this is one of the most significant paintings at Bube's Brewery. It's a portrait of Alois Bube himself. Alois Bube was part of the immigration wave from Germany in the mid-1800s. After working at the brewery himself, he ended up buying it and made it what it is today. During his years of ownership, Alois Bube's expanded, adding a banquet area, a hotel, a bar, and a dining area. Now we're about to go on my favorite part of the tour, the catacombs. We're about to go 35 feet underground, where there are trapdoors and some say even ghosts. There are a lot of rumors about Bube's Brewery, including that it was part of the Underground Railroad and that it was part of smuggling in beer during Prohibition. So follow me as I show you the ins and outs of the catacombs. Welcome to the catacombs. I think that this is the most fascinating part of Bube's Brewery. Bube was built over a structure of caves for the purpose of the lagering process. When Alois Bube bought the brewery and got enough money, he built limestone walls around these caves to give the catacombs their special effect. Behind me right here is the only original limestone wall left standing. And over here is another interesting part of the catacombs, which I talked a little bit about earlier. This hole goes all the way across the street. So many people think that was part of the Prohibition days, smuggling alcohol into the brewery, or part of the Underground Railroad. While none of these facts have been proven, I like to think that they're true. Another rumor that goes around Bube's Brewery is that it is haunted. Many of my coworkers have claimed that they have seen ghosts or other beings. We even leave bar stools down for Alois Bube to sit at when we close the bar up at night. So what you choose to believe is up to you. What I can tell you for a fact is that the feasts at Bube's Brewery are an incredible experience, and it's only here that you get to experience them. So next I'm going to show you where these feasts take place, and then I'll show you the other tubs where the lagering process used to take place back in the 1900s. So here's the area where the feasts take place. As you can see, the current feast that we're decorated for is, of course, the Christmas feast. But we also have pirate feasts, Roman feasts, gypsy feasts, and much more. A feast at Bube's Brewery is an interactive meal with up to 75 other people. There are actors that stay in their roles, and you get fed 5-course meals, as well as some of the best microbreweries in Lancaster. As you can see, an interesting part of this room is the trough that digs down under. When people drink at the feast, they have to be careful because there's a divot right in the center of this floor. That divot is original to Bube's Brewery and was used that when they used to spill beer, it could easily be cleaned up. And speaking of beer, follow me as I show you those lagering tubs we talked about in the last couple of segments. This is one of the 4 remaining lager tanks that are still remaining at Bube's Brewery. These used to line the halls of the catacombs, but now we just have the 4 originals. Back when Bube used to brew his beer, these were kept at the perfect temperature and humidity for the lagering process. This happened after the stock-up process that we explained earlier in the segment. Now, once the lagering process was over, after about 6 to 8 weeks, the beer is ready to be distributed through the pulley system, which was part of our very first part of the tour. So as you can see, as we've wrapped around the brewery, we've also wrapped around the original brewing process of Bube's Brewery. There's a lot more to see at Bube's Brewery, but unfortunately during the winter season there just isn't enough time and isn't enough warm temperatures to see it. So join us again because there's still a lot more to see, such as the hotel rooms, the banquet hall, the Alois Bar, the bottling works, and the beer garden. But that's for summer. Until then, cheers.